So what am I going to talk to you about today? What's this live stream about? It is all about your subconscious programming, your subconscious mind, and how, when you get to know it, when you uncover your own programs, you can open up space in your energy for growth and abundance. So we've got quite a lot to talk about today. There's quite a lot in this subject. We're going to look at exactly what is your subconscious mind, what your subconscious programs are, and why we will have them. And we're going to look at, in particular, specifically, self-sabotage, procrastination, distraction, and overwhelm. Why they happen, and how you can recognize them and help yourself overcome them so that you can continually open yourself up to personal evolution and to personal growth. So, should we get stuck in? What is the subconscious mind? Now, everybody has a different definition of it, so I thought it'd be really useful to just outline it here and give you my understanding. So, your subconscious mind, it really does have immense power in controlling your life experiences, from the types of food you eat, to the actions that you take every day, to the level of income you earn, and how you react to stressful situations. About 90% of your thoughts, behaviors, and action are guided by your subconscious beliefs and interpretations. They're guided by your subconscious programs. So if you think about your subconscious mind being an autopilot feature on an airplane, it's kind of been pre-programmed to follow a specific route unique to you, and you can't deviate from that route unless you recognize and acknowledge your own programs and you change them. So if you were the autopilot, you change directions, yeah? And the subconscious is the part of your mind that operates below your normal level of waking consciousness. Right now, you are primarily using your conscious mind to listen to me and to absorb the meaning of my words. But beneath that mental focus, your subconscious mind is working behind the scenes, absorbing, rejecting information based on any existing perceptions you have of me, of the theme of the information I'm sharing, and of the world around you. And these existing perceptions, these are your subconscious programs, and they began forming when you were an infant. With every experience that your subconscious mind soaks in, particularly when you're in childhood, would have soaked in information like a sponge. It rejected nothing when you were young because you didn't have any pre-existing beliefs to contradict what was perceived by you in your immaturity. And your subconscious mind simply accepted all of the information you received during your early childhood, and it accepted it as truth. So you can probably see why this becomes a problem in later life. You know, every time someone called you, I don't know, stupid, lazy, slow, said you could try harder, or said, well done, you've achieved something, when that achievement came from you nearly kind of killing yourself metaphorically, your subconscious mind just stored the information away for reference. Now, you also may have received messages about your potential in life or your limitations in life based on your physical abilities, your skin color, your gender, or your economic status, your family, the school that you went to, the area that you grew up in, you know, the specific colloquialisms of your area. And by the time you were 7 or 8 years old, you already had a solid foundation of belief based on all that programming from people in your life, from the television shows you watched, from any sort of environmental influence. So if I can give you a visual picture of the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, if you imagine an iceberg, your conscious mind, what you're physically aware of, is the top of the iceberg, the part of the water that's the part of the iceberg that's above the water, that's easy to measure, easy to see. And your subconscious mind is the rest of it, the part of the iceberg that is submerged under the surface of the water, that can cause amazing amounts of damage if it isn't seen in time. So in a nutshell, your subconscious is everything that is not in your awareness. So the things that you do automatically, breathing, your subconscious mind controls that. The ability to ride a bike, you've learned how to do that, so you don't need to relearn it every time. Playing the piano, and also, very interestingly, and the thing here that tends to stop us, your subconscious mind holds any resistance to change. It doesn't like the unknown, you see. It resists change, even if that change is wanted and required. So how can we go into that a little bit more? The subconscious mind, therefore, is all about human survival. And it has what's called a homeostatic impulse. So it regulates your physical body, maintaining balance most of the time through the autonomic nervous system that runs your breathing, it runs your body temperature and your digestion. You know, all of your physical systems that are amazing, your subconscious mind runs them through your autonomic nervous system. It does the same thing in your mental realm by keeping you thinking and acting in a manner consistent with what you've done and what you've said in the past. Your subconscious mind has all your habits and comfort zones stored. And whenever you attempt anything new or anything different, or you try and change something established, some pattern of behavior, negative or positive, it will become activated and evoke uncomfortable feelings physically and emotionally in order to keep that mental homeostasis that it has been programmed to maintain, which creates subconscious stress. I bet you can recognize that in your own life, can't you? I mean, I know I do. Whenever there is something coming, I recognize a level of anxiety lifting, and I generally choose to go in and recognize where that's from, to acknowledge why it's there, and see if I can reassure and reframe and embody something different. So this internal subconscious stress fogs your brain, fills your energetic space up, and makes focus and development more challenging, even if you want it. You know, even high achievers, I work with quite a number of high achievers, even those people, correct my English, who are accustomed to change, who are accustomed to challenge, still have this unconscious structure going on within them. Even though change and challenge or growth are everything they consciously require of themselves, it always comes with an internal edge, you know, this little struggle within. So the full positive potential of your mind and your capabilities, they lie deep within your subconscious, where the default setting is to thrive. You know, deep down in you, your birthright is to thrive, not survive, not win, not evolve without, you know, not evolve in struggle, but to evolve freely and to impact with meaning. Now, this default setting is layered beneath years of subconscious programming. And the pathway to stress-free freedom of choice is really through inner work, through exploring your habitual patterns of thought, behavior, and action, so that you can uncover your belief systems and early conditioning, and therefore understand your unique subconscious programming. You know, subconscious programming occurs from day one and continues throughout life. Its antidote is emotional awareness, curiosity, and introspection, and observing the energy field that you find yourself in, that you emit, that triggers you, that you trigger to, you know. Childhood in particular is a time when we are emotionally immature. Its very nature means that we're vulnerable to the external world, and we haven't yet defined who we are or what we stand for. Children do not develop analytical thinking until age 7. And therefore, any early message given to them before this age embeds and plays a significant role in how you view themselves and yourself in the world. For example, let me give you some things that I've seen in my own self and my own clients. For example, a child, put my teeth in, who tries hard at school and does well is praised, but also told, well done, but you can do better. So perhaps that child will take on this continual striving motion within their life. They strive continually to do better until their subconscious programming that they're not doing well enough is transformed and integrated into a new program, something along the lines of success in finding purpose in themselves, finding that they are unique. Or a child that feels perhaps neglected because a parent is super busy with work, will look at working hard as the only thing that's important in life until that subconscious program is transformed and integrated into something helpful. I don't know, perhaps something along the lines of having a work-life balance that supports a deeper meaning and a purpose for working hard, We also have cultural subconscious programs, which are showing up and they're from where we live, where we work, in our family, how we've experienced our peers. And just to give you an example, some well-known cultural programs are the British have a stiff upper lip and love to talk about the weather. The German people enjoy beer. Americans can be loud. Italians are all passionate. And Canadians are nice. These stereotypes are embedded in us by our culture. And on any given day, there will be an unspoken narrative playing out under the surface of your awareness that impacts your perception of your world and your energy levels. Whether you find it easy to connect with others when you meet them, will be impacted by these subconscious programs, how effectively you communicate your needs and your wants, how much you enjoy being in relationships with different people, and in specifically your internal levels of stress, anxiety, or ability to move into change with excitement or with, a little bit of trepidation. So whatever your strategy, your subconscious mind developed in childhood to ensure that you survived, were liked, or succeeded, it's likely that that strategy isn't going to be helpful to you today. And it's likely that that may well show up as triggers that turn into problems, or you notice behavior patterns that aren't helpful. And you're not fully aware of why. So this is where your subconscious program is leading your life. And we've just discovered that subconscious program tends to be laid down specifically in childhood. So it's like your childhood perception of who you are and how life is running the show. And even if you have discovered strengths, they end up being limitations as well, especially as you evolve. Let me give you an example of that. A female CEO who brought up 2 children by multitasking and delegating childcare and pushing through any emotional pain barrier that she had ends up burnt out, divorced, and finding leadership of millennials now very challenging. Or another example is, a high-flying investment banker who always reads the markets intuitively because, that's his magic ingredient, intuition. On this particular occasion, arrogantly ignores evidence-based data and perhaps loses a whole deal. So you can see there in those 2 examples how real strengths or problems, solutions to specific problems work and then end up being a problem in themselves. So what I mean here is that continual inner exploration will ensure that your conscious awareness of what drives you will evolve, and you'll be free to choose to change your beliefs, to change your thoughts, to change your behavior, and to change any action that limits your possibility, that limits your growth into your potential. And after all, we're here to live into our future self, into our potential. Now, 4 main areas of negative subconscious programming that I see are self-sabotage, procrastination, distraction, and overwhelm. And these can happen on their own or all at once. Self-sabotage connects to feelings of being a fraud and will show up in various ways. You know, you can get ill suddenly, have an accident, tech problems can show up. All of a sudden, you'll have a family crisis or relationship problems when you're about to, I don't know, land a great big deal or launch a great big program, something. I have one old client who developed every single time a huge family crisis whenever there was a big deal to land. And it would feed into his internal belief that he only worked well under immense stress. I have another client who famously knocked out her internet when interviewing for a new role, confirming her subconscious belief that she's a victim to circumstance and has to try double hard to get ahead. And then I have yet another client who fell over and broke his ankle just as he was about to travel, obviously pre-COVID, to be the keynote speaker in an international climate conference, which would have fulfilling his outdated fear that public speaking wasn't really for him and that his ideas are ahead of the game and no one will listen. So you can see there 3 very specific subconscious programs developed in childhood that directly impact potential possibility and growth. Yeah. So have a little think about self-sabotage in your own life now. How can you see your own subconscious programs showing up in self-sabotage? And we have procrastination. Procrastination connects to the fear of the future. One client of mine had developed a new algorithm that would collect data for a specific app. He'd researched it and found no one else was doing it. So he played around with it and thought about it, not sure if it was the right thing for him to do, worried that it would change his life, anxious about the financial investment. And by the time he decided, 6 months later, to go ahead, somebody else had already launched a similar idea with crowdfunding and was building a market. So he had direct competition 6 months later, whereas if he had launched immediately, he would have been the market leader. Procrastination links back to childhood subconscious programming where the unknown is unsafe. The future cannot be controlled, and it's better to do nothing rather than to get it wrong or to be perfect. Now ask yourself, does any of that resonate with you? Do you recognize any of your own subconscious programs? Is procrastination something that you notice as I'm speaking in your life? And then we have distraction. Distraction is avoidance. When we become distracted, it's likely that we are avoiding some part of our own truth. It's better to be busy to fill the day with process and tasks. And this links back to a subconscious childhood program around feeling out of control and needing to prove worth in some way, or that busyness, being really busy, was valuable and the only way to be productive. So again, I ask you, where are you likely to distract yourself? What are you likely to distract yourself with to avoid facing your true feelings, facing your potential? Ask yourself these questions and see if you can show up any subconscious programs that connect into that particular unhelpful way of being. And then we come to overwhelm. Overwhelm is to do with not trusting the process of life. An example of this is when somebody feels that they have to do everything, otherwise it isn't done properly or well. And this also links back to childhood subconscious programming around feeling out of control. And it often connects with developing independence far too early in life in response to not being seen or heard by those around you, or needing to be a grown-up, too early. For years, I carried a subconscious belief that there was no one coming to help me and that the buck stopped with me. So I needed to cross the T's and dot the I's and make sure that I had all the bases covered, which was exhausting and seriously disempowering for those around me who were more than capable of getting stuck into the mix and supporting everything that was being done. So again, another question: how does overwhelm show up for you? Is it part of your life? And if it is, check out your childhood subconscious programs that support the belief that it is the way that you need to live. On top of these things, of course, we have gender stereotypes and cultural differences that are embedded in subconscious programming, and they are these are changing, kind of somewhat as we modernize our society, which is a wonderful thing, but they still do hold sway and play out in the workplace, play out in everyday life. And in particular, women can experience imposter syndrome, specifically, never feeling good enough, often feeling unseen and unappreciated and pushed aside unless they develop kind of a little bit of a thick skin and a ruthless business nature, which isn't helpful. It's good to be vulnerable, and it's very good to be able to express your true self, because when you do express your true self, you give other people around you the opportunity to meet you in your truth and get to know you fully. And when people and you know yourself fully, truth expands and truth grows, and these subconscious programmings that are actually little bits of lies and excuses can be seen more effectively, and they can be used to move into growth much more easily. Now, men can experience this sort of thing kind of a little bit differently. They can push for the next career step, never quite finding success, feeling that anything is possible without fully developing themselves and utilizing empathy or compassion. These are really obviously generalizations. And there will be all sorts of individual nuances within these. But it is something that I see often, in that women often feel not good enough and men feel that they can conquer the world but don't deal with failure. But, how do we reprogram our subconscious minds? Because a program is embedded in us, it's going to shift, and we're going to have a new program, a new belief system, a new way of thinking, and a new way of embodying the energy of what we want to be. So there's lots of tools and techniques that you can use, and they're kind of out there in the general accepted way of being. Remove negative stimulus from your life, spend time in meditation. I particularly think that if you go into a journeying state, you access alpha brainwaves or theta brainwaves, which are the link between the logical mind and the creative mind. And they allow you to access information from your subconscious mind, what we've been talking about today, to become aware of it, to become aware of what's running under the surface of your field of awareness. Now, to support that, I think that free writing, stream of consciousness journaling, 3 short pages a day of whatever is in your mind, what in your head, to uncover current subconscious programs showing up in your life is extremely valuable. That, together with going into a journeying altered state of consciousness, will really facilitate you building your own awareness. Now, these are little tools that you can use, okay? But to go deeper, and to be actively involved in building your awareness, your resilience, your emotional resilience, your ability to move through challenge effortlessly, and to develop your future self, where you want to go, the purpose of you, the meaning of you, you must start at the beginning of your subconscious programming in childhood. Every trigger we have, every strength we nurture, every belief we hold will have its root in childhood. These triggers, these strengths, and these beliefs, they come together to create our ego and our identity, which we must have as humans. And then from there, we move towards our potential and to our possibility. Now, I want to give you an example of something about me, about my life. When I was a kid, my idea of my future self was to be grown up. It was all I could think of. I remember lying in my bed, in my bedroom, staring out of the window and willing time to pass so that I could grow. Being grown up meant having money, and having money meant being free. I knew that this longed for state of being grown up was inevitable. I just had to wait, right? But as I did get to be 18, 21 and 30 and 40, being grown up never really landed. I had all the external trappings, material wealth, stable home, a son, stepkids, but the feeling I was chasing as a child really wasn't there. And it wasn't until I was 50 that I realized that idea of my future self that I had set when I was small was not really to be grown up. This was the childhood perception. So this was the childhood subconscious program. Yeah. But it was more to do with inner freedom, to truly know myself and to be free to be me. But in my childhood, I didn't understand that. I set a program of being grown up and started to live as I thought a grown up would live. And it didn't work. In childhood and in early adulthood, I spent a lot of time confused, trying to fit in, trying to be what was expected, succeeding at school, but never being satisfied with the success, always thinking I should enjoy success more and always wondering what the big fuss about success was. In my early career and to the outside world, I looked successful, but I didn't feel it. There's that imposter syndrome. Until I developed my awareness, accepted myself fully, and committed to continued personal evolution, personal growth. In my opinion, spiritual development, personal development, emotional intelligence is where the fun is. And if you can access the fun, you're going to be able to explore possibility, explore your potential, set yourself up for growth and abundance, okay? Now, in order to do that, you need to be able to recognize your subconscious programs. You need to be able to acknowledge the childhood experiences that set them in place and embedded them in your energetic self. Then you need to be able to reassure and reframe them in so that you come into acknowledging the childhood experience, and then you nurture that child and ask the child what was missing. What does the child within you need? How can you reassure that childish part of yourself so that it can reframe that subconscious program into something in adulthood that is helpful to you and will assist you with your birthright of abundance and your life's experience of growth? And then when you've got that, it's down to you. You get to choose. You get to make a decision as to how you show up. You embody that new way of being. You embody the new subconscious program. So for me, instead of trying to be grown up, I embody the idea, the thought, the behavior, and the belief that personal growth, spiritual intelligence and emotional intelligence, and the exploration of it all is where the fun is in my life and is the gold is the thing that makes the difference, is the impact I want to make, is the meaning and the purpose of the initial subconscious program that I laid down. So there's quite a lot of information for you today. It's a very rich live stream, but I'm excited to share it with you. And I invite you to comment and tell me, number one, where do you see your subconscious programs? What's playing out now? How does it track back to you as a child? How can you acknowledge that childhood experience and reframe it and embody something new? And that's where you will step into growth and where you will invite abundance into your life over and over and over again. Whenever you say yes to yourself, whenever you invest in your own inner work, whenever you open your energy up to the potential and possibility available to your life, you are welcoming abundance. You are allowing yourself to receive. So thank you for joining me. Oh, wow, we're straight on the 30 minutes. And I will see you very soon with another wonderful topic to talk about. You take care. Lots of love. Bye.